Ladies and gentlemen, today's message isn't just another talk. It's a warning, a whisper from the earth itself, and a wake-up call for every heart that still dares to care. We live in a world of breathtaking beauty, oceans that shimmer beneath the sun, forests that breathe life into our skies, and creatures that walk this planet with us in perfect harmony. But somewhere along the way, we stopped listening. Somewhere, our progress became louder than our purpose. Nikki Reed and Somerhalder stand before us not as celebrities, but as voices of truth, as two souls who've seen the silent destruction we often ignore. They've felt the pain of the planet, the suffering of animals, and the cost of human convenience. And today, they bring us a message that we cannot afford to overlook. This isn't about politics. This isn't about fame. This is about survival, our survival. Every breath we take is borrowed from the generosity of nature. Every drop of clean water, every piece of food, every ray of sunlight that touches our lives, it all comes from one source, this earth. And yet, every single day, we give less back to it than we take. We consume, we waste, we forget. But the planet never forgets. The truth is, we are standing at a turning point in human history. We can continue down this path of destruction, or we can choose to rise. We can choose awareness. We can choose action. We can choose to become the generation that changed everything. Nikki and Ian's message isn't born out of fear, it's born out of love, love for their child, love for humanity, and love for the fragile miracle that sustains us all. Their warning is not meant to frighten you, it's meant to awaken you. Because what we face today is not just environmental collapse, it's emotional collapse. We've lost touch with the very world that gives us life. And if we don't find our way back, the price will be higher than any of us can bear. So, I ask you, don't just listen with your ears. Listen with your heart. Let every word that follows be a reminder that hope still exists. Let every story they share ignite something inside you, a determination to protect, to preserve, and to fight for the future we all deserve. Because the greatest warning isn't the sound of destruction, it's the silence of those who do nothing. Stay with me till the end of this speech. You will walk away not just informed, but transformed. Because once you hear what Nikki Reed and Somerhalder have to say, you will never see the world the same way again. When we look around our world today, we see innovation, technology, and progress everywhere we turn. Our cities are brighter, our lives are faster, and our reach across the globe has never been greater. But beneath that dazzling surface lies a truth that too many of us choose to ignore, the silent destruction taking place in the background of our comfort. It doesn't scream, it doesn't cry, but it is there, quietly unraveling the very fabric of the earth that sustains us. Every decision we make, what we buy, what we throw away, how we live, it all leaves a mark. We have built a world of convenience, and in doing so, we have forgotten the cost of that convenience. The air we breathe carries the burden of our choices. The oceans we once admired for their beauty now carry plastic instead of purity. Forests that once stood tall and proud are now fading memories in photographs and documentaries. This is not a story of distance, it's the story of us. We've reached a point where human comfort has begun to outweigh human conscience. We no longer see the forest, we see paper. We no longer see the ocean, we see opportunity. We no longer see life, we see resources. Somewhere along the line, we traded harmony for hunger, a hunger for more, for faster, for easier. And in that chase, we've become blind to what we're losing. When Nikki Reed and Somerhalder warn us, it's not with anger, it's with heartbreak. They've witnessed the fragility of life in places untouched by man, and they've seen how quickly that beauty fades when human greed enters the equation. They remind us that we are not apart from nature, we are a part of it. Yet we live as if the planet is an infinite supply house designed for our convenience. But nature is not a supplier, it is a supporter, delicate, powerful, and finite. Think about it. Every time a plastic bottle is thrown away, it doesn't disappear, it lives longer than we do. Every forest burned for profit takes centuries to heal, if it ever does. Every animal that disappears from this earth takes with it a piece of balance that can never be replaced. The world's greatest tragedy is not that we destroy, it's that we destroy without even realizing it. We don't need to be villains to cause harm, all it takes is silence, indifference, and habit. And yet, despite all of this, there is hope. There is always hope. Because destruction may be silent, but so is creation. It begins quietly, in the choices we make, in the voices we raise, in the example we set for those who follow us. Each of us holds a measure of power, whether we see it or not. The power to recycle, to plant, to care, to educate, to refuse what harms and embrace what heals. Change begins the moment we stop saying someone should do something and start saying, I will. What makes Nikki and Ian's warning so powerful is not the gravity of their words, but the sincerity behind them. They live what they speak. They understand that the smallest act of awareness can. Awareness is a beginning, but it is not the destination. Knowing what is happening to our planet means nothing if it doesn't move us to act. The truth is, information without action is like light hidden under a blanket, it illuminates nothing. Awareness can open our eyes, but only responsibility can move our hands, change our habits, and shape our future. We live in a time when almost everyone understands the problem. We see the images, we read the reports, we share the posts. But understanding alone doesn't heal a river, doesn't clean the air, doesn't save an animal, and doesn't protect a forest. The difference between a spectator and a change-maker lies in one simple choice, to take responsibility. Nikki Reed and Ian Somerhalder are powerful reminders of what that choice looks like. They don't just talk about saving the planet, they live it, every day, through their actions, their work, and the example they set as a family. They understand that real change starts not in conference halls or government offices, but in homes, in kitchens, in the quiet decisions that shape our daily lives. What we buy, what we eat, what we waste, these are all votes we cast for the kind of world we want to live in. And here's the truth, the world doesn't need a handful of perfect people doing everything right. It needs millions of imperfect people doing something right. Every responsible choice, no matter how small, sends a message. When you refuse plastic, you send a message. When you plant a tree, you send a message. When you support sustainable brands, teach your children about kindness to the earth, or simply choose less wasteful habits, you send a message. Responsibility is not about guilt, it's about empowerment. It's about realizing that every single one of us, no matter where we live or what we do, has the ability to create change. When we act responsibly, we reclaim our power. We stop being victims of circumstance and become authors of our future. Think about the generations that will follow us. They will inherit the consequences of our choices. They will live in the world we build today. That alone should awaken something in us, a sense of duty, a sense of honor, a sense of love. Because responsibility, at its core, is not a burden. It's an expression of love for something greater than ourselves. Nikki and Ian often speak about how becoming parents shifted their perspective. When you hold a child in your arms, you see the world differently. You no longer think in days or years, you think in generations. You realize that your actions, even the smallest ones, will echo long after you're gone. That's what true responsibility means. It's doing the right thing, even when no one is watching, even when the rewards aren't immediate, because you know it's what's right. The journey toward responsibility isn't always comfortable. It asks us to unlearn habits that have been with us for years. It asks us to slow down, to question convenience, to challenge industries. Somewhere along the way, we began to drift away from the very essence that once defined us, our connection to the earth. The soil that once felt sacred beneath our feet became nothing more than ground to walk on. The trees that once whispered wisdom in the wind became background scenery to our cities. The oceans that once fed our spirits became dumping grounds for our waste. We didn't notice the disconnect happening at first because it didn't happen overnight. It happened slowly, quietly, almost imperceptibly, until one day, we woke up and realized that we no longer feel what the earth feels. We have built walls around our lives, both physical and emotional. We live in concrete boxes, scroll through digital worlds, and consume artificial realities. We've become so busy chasing progress that we've forgotten to pause and breathe with the planet that sustains us. We talk about nature as though it's something outside of us, something we visit on weekends, something we photograph but no longer truly experience. But the truth is, we were never meant to stand apart from it. We are not guests on this planet, we are its children. And when children lose their bond with their mother, they lose their sense of belonging. Nikki and Ian Somerhalder have often spoken about this disconnection, not with judgment, but with deep sadness and urgency. They remind us that when we lose our connection to nature, we lose our connection to empathy. We begin to see life not as sacred, but as a commodity. We start treating animals as products, forests as resources, and the planet as something to use, not something to cherish. And when we do that, we don't just destroy the earth, we destroy a part of ourselves. Think about the peace you feel when you stand near the ocean, when you walk barefoot on grass, when you hear the sound of rain or the whisper of leaves. That feeling, that calm, that sense of alignment, is not accidental. It is nature calling you home. It is the earth reminding you that you are not separate from it, you are part of its rhythm. The air you breathe, the food you eat, the warmth of the sun on your skin, these are not luxuries. They are love letters from the universe, written in a language older than time. But somewhere along the journey, we forgot how to read those letters. We replaced them with screens, with noise, with distraction. We traded stillness for speed and mindfulness for materialism. We started believing that happiness comes from what we own, not from what we experience. And yet, deep down, every human heart still longs for that lost connection, the peace of a sunrise, the honesty of rain, the humbling silence of the night sky. That longing is proof that the bond is not broken, it's only buried. Rebuilding our relationship with nature doesn't require perfection or drastic sacrifice. It requires presence. It requires us to slow down, to listen, to care. It means noticing the small things again, the way the wind feels against. The future isn't some faraway concept waiting for us in the distance, it's being built right now, in every decision we make, in every action we take, in every silence we allow. It's not tomorrow's responsibility anymore, it's ours, here and today. The truth is, we don't get to stand still while the world moves forward. We are either shaping the future or surrendering it. There is no middle ground anymore. Nikki and Ian Somerhalder's warning isn't meant to fill us with fear. It's meant to fill us with clarity. Because when you understand how fragile our planet truly is, when you see how quickly beauty can disappear, you begin to realize that hope isn't just a word, it's a responsibility. It's a call to rise, to unite, and to do better than we ever have before. They remind us that this isn't about saving the planet in theory, it's about protecting the only home humanity will ever have. We live in an era of incredible innovation. We have more knowledge, more tools, and more technology than any generation before us. But technology without purpose is powerless. Progress without compassion is empty. What defines us now will not be how fast we advanced, but how wisely we used our advancement. Did we use our intelligence to heal or to harm? Did we use our voices to build bridges or to divide? Did we use our influence to protect life or to exploit it? Those are the questions that will define our legacy. There is still time to change the course of our story. The beauty of being human is that we have the power to begin again. The earth has endured centuries of damage, yet it still gives. It still forgives. Every sunrise is another chance, a silent invitation to do better than we did yesterday. But time is not infinite, and opportunities don't last forever. The window for change is closing, and what we do in the next few years will determine the fate of generations to come. This is the moment where hope must evolve into action. Hope on its own is fragile. It survives only when we give it movement. And movement begins with unity. We need a world that doesn't wait for leaders to lead but becomes a movement of leaders, ordinary people doing extraordinary things through consistency, courage, and compassion. Because no government, no corporation, no single person can do this alone. But together, humanity can accomplish what once seemed impossible. Every great transformation in history began with people who believed that things could be different. They didn't have guarantees, they had conviction. That same conviction must awaken in us now. We can't afford to believe that the fight for the planet belongs only to scientists or activists. It belongs to every parent who wants a future for their child, every student who dreams of blue skies and clean water, every human being who still feels awe when standing before the beauty of creation. The future isn't just about sustainability, it's about soul. It's about remembering who we are at our core, pro-tech.